Hi everyone, it's Bev here, your mental health coach, providing tips, tools, techniques and advice, helping you to stay mentally strong in these difficult times and beyond. The topic for this video is when you are successful and depressed. Now, how can that be? How can success and depression be in the same sentence? It can. I want to cite Naomi Osaka, who has pulled out of the French tennis tournament on account of her mental health issues. And I want to explain what is going on for her. Now, you may be at the top of your game as a consultant, as an expert in your field, and still feel down. And in some cases, you feel, I don't have the right to be depressed. Feel guilty about being depressed because I have everything. I have everything that I need, and yet I don't feel connected to my life. There's maybe an emptiness inside that can't be filled by fancy wine and good food and holidays. What's that all about? Why and how is it that someone like Naomi Osaka, someone like Lady Gaga, someone like Prince Harry, how can they talk about mental health issues? But as I said, it shows how much we know about depression. We don't know a lot. Are we saying that depression is only the domain of people that are not achieving, people that are poor, people that are having real health issues, physical health issues, or financial issues or employment issues? No. Depression doesn't care who you are. When it comes a calling, you have to address it. You have to deal with it on an individual basis. But let me talk about when you're at the top of your game, when you are seen as an expert in your field. What do you experience? How can you be depressed? Well, number one, what Naomi and successful people experience is a lot of pressure, externally and internally. So the internal pressures are that you have your own self-standards. You are a perfectionist and you know when good is good. But maybe for you, good is never enough, so you're always striving and putting pressure on yourself. And externally, people put pressure because they don't understand. They think it's easy for you, so they demand more from you. Could you just do this? Could you just cast your eye over that? And because you love what you do it. And the big issue there is burnout. So that's number one. The pressure externally and internally. Now, number two for successful people is once you've achieved your goals, where do you go from there? What is the next goal? Now, if you have won every accolade that's going, if you have seen as the expert, where do you go from there? And in particularly Naomi's case, at 23 or whatever age she is, where do you go? I mean, you can win the French Open, you can win Wimbledon, you can win every match possible, and then what? And then what at such an early age? How do you inspire yourself to get out of bed when you've done everything? Number three, I think it is that when you are an expert in your field, nobody can relate to you. No one can relate to you because you can't talk about what it is that you do, and if you do talk about it, people may think that you're big-headed or you're bragging, and so you have no body or very few people to relate to. So in the case of Naomi, it was other tennis players and other sports people that came out and say, we really get it. We understand that at that level, nobody understands the intricacies, the detail of the game. And when you are working at a top level, you can't bounce ideas off of another person because it will just go straight over their head, and that's the issue. So it's very lonely, as they say, at the top. Number 4 is that you become an imposter. You know, you may suffer very heavily from imposter syndrome, which means that you feel like a fraud, particularly in Naomi's case, whereby she's only 23. She's very talented, and yet she struck it lucky by winning against Serena Williams very publicly, you know, and maybe she's got issues of, I was lucky, you know, or I don't deserve it, or people are going to see that I'm just a one-off, you know, I'm never going to be able to achieve that again. And that can cause a lot of turmoil inside her head. So what do you do when you've achieved everything? No one can relate to you, or you can't relate to other people and what they're doing. The pressure and the expectations are really, really high, and you may be suffering from imposter syndrome. What do you do? Well, do you know the best thing to do, as Naomi Osaka has done, is to step back. You know, just to step back, to have the courage to treat your mental health with the respect that it deserves, because you don't want to burn out. You just don't want, and that is the danger. So you step back and say, I'm not doing that. You pace yourself. And if Naomi was one of my clients, what I would say to her was, do something completely different, whereby you're not a big fish in a small pond. You are the small fish. So in her case, what could she do? She could learn to dance, you know, where she is the novice, where she has to take instructions from people that are better than her, that are more talented than her in this field, where she doesn't feel that the pressure is on her. So if you are doing okay in your life, if you are successful, if you are an achiever, it is really important to balance your life out and do something where you do not know anything about that, whereby you can explore, where you can learn, where you can be vulnerable, and you don't have to be the subject matter expert. So I do commend Naomi and people that do take time out to go and do something completely different. And when you come back to your game, you'll be 100% stronger. I'll leave it there. Until next time, take care.